this started. Okay, now Zoom is telling me that's a recording in progress. Doesn't matter. Welcome everybody to Monday Morning Motivation, and congratulations for not making excuses. You're here, you joined this morning because you want to know more about trust, and we'll get there. Carina is going to tell us all about how, when, and why is that important, and how to go about building trust with people. It's very, very good. And we're very excited to have her here. So thank you for the time. And I'm extremely excited to have all of you here joining this morning because you didn't make excuses and you found the time to honestly click 3 buttons on your phone or your computer to be here, even if you're busy. So thank you for that. And if you don't know who we are, well, me, Maria, and Janine, my co-founder, we founded Monday Morning Motivation 2 years ago. And it's a community where we host webinars every Monday morning at 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. And we have wonderful speakers like Carina who talk to us about important topics that they are experts in or they find interesting, and they are willing to share their insights. And this has been happening for a couple of years. We also have offline events, but our main community hangs out on WeChat. So if you guys are not in the WeChat groups, there's the QR code on the slide. Do scan it and I will add you. And Carina is in all the WeChat groups. So after today, she will share her information and you guys can contact her directly and you can ask any other questions. But we will have a Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. So do hang out and don't be afraid of asking any questions. As you can see on the slide, that's the lineup for May. So we have one more webinar coming up in May with Michelle, which is coming out of your comfort zone. And we'll have a lot more planned for June, July, August. And so you guys just, if you're in the WeChat group, we will share everything very, very soon. As usual, we do host these webinars every Monday morning and they're all for free. We had people ask if they can donate and the answer is yes. We give half of the proceeds to the 1 Million Tree Project. They plant trees in Inner Mongolia. We've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they're a very good project to work with because they help plant trees where it's necessary. As well, if you guys have if you missed any of the webinars, there's a QR code to get the recordings. There's a lot of news coming for the recordings and how to get those. So hang tight. We will be sharing very, very important news and very exciting news very, very soon. And we'll be sharing that at our upcoming party, where you can also find all our books. And here in the QR code, you can find the physical book like this one, English or Chinese. Well, this is bilingual one, or the ebook. We also have the ebook for those who prefer some digital books. And you can see them and talk to us on Sunday, because on Sunday we'll have our 2-year anniversary party. We're very excited about it. I'm excited because last year I was not here, so I get to be here to hang out with former speakers and everybody who's in Shanghai and wants to join. So if you want to join, please scan the QR code, buy your ticket, and we'll see you there. It's going to be very, very, very exciting. And now I'll shut up and give Carina the floor, because you guys are here to hear from her, not from me. Carina, please.
Thank you so much, Maria, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today with you. A few words about myself. I'm 44. I'm more than 5 years now in Shanghai with my family. I originally studied business administration, and I spent more than 2 decades. Yeah, it was more than 2 decades in the travel industry. So I then decided to change my career path when coming to Shanghai. Today, I'm a Reiki master, I'm an NLP practitioner, I'm an IP coach candidate, and my coaching is focusing on relationship to your colleague, to your boss, to your friend, to your partner, to yourself. I think this is one of the most important relationships you should have. So I'm here today to talk about the trust index, how to manage trust and what actually influences it. So I now share the slide. Give me a second, please. Yeah, there we go. So let's get started. Let's start with the very basics. The definition of trust. Our one-stop shop for definitions, Google, says about trust that it is the firm belief in the reliability, the truth, the ability or strengths of someone or something. But trust is so much more. Trust is the glue that enables relationships of all kinds. Just think about your daily life. How often you give or get trust. As an example, I mean, in the morning, hopefully the whole day, you trust your husband, your wife, your partner, your teacher, the teachers of your children. You bring your children to the school and you trust that the teachers take good care of them. The moment you step into a car in the morning, you trust somehow the car company. Or if it's a Didi or if it's a taxi, you trust the taxi driver. Or you go for lunch, each bite you take, you trust the cook and the food industry at the long term. So, and hopefully you trust yourself. Trust is a learned behavior. Actually, it's built up in the first 7 years of your childhood. Your first caretakers are the ones who mostly build your trust. They're normally your parents. There are also other situations, but normally they're your parents. And if you just remember yourself as a child, where was the absolute safest place on earth? It was on the lap of your parents, right? And even better, when they hugged you, they also chased away the monsters under your bed. We all had them. So the parents' trust is something which is really giving you the path of your future trust behavior. There are two core components of trust: the inside, the self-confidence, the trust towards yourself, in your own abilities, in your gut feeling, in your intuition, in your skills. And there's also the trust in others, the outside. You trust in other people or things. Obviously, many things affect trust. Just to pick a few of them, you show yourself being vulnerable. That, for example, in a meeting, allows your team members to be more open with their concerns and mistakes. If you are also vulnerable, if you show them that you also do mistakes, they are more open to be honest to you. And this is really affecting the team in a positive way. Being honest. I mean, this is a key element. We all have those certain white lies, those well-being lies, but I'm talking about the real stuff. For example, my driver, Michael, he started his career as a Didi driver, a taxi driver, not a Didi driver. And he once found a purse. He realized his former client lost his purse in his car. So he took the purse, there was a lot of money in, and brought it to this guy in the hotel, gave it back. And guess what happened? This guy wanted him as his personal driver. Today he's with me, and I'm very, very happy to have him. Yes, I'll keep your word. One example of my life, my mom, she used to be a smoker, and she really tried hard to skip smoking. And she managed also, but when I was very little, she told me she will stop. And that one night I needed a glass of water, and I went down in the kitchen and I saw her with a cigarette. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal, I have to say. Yeah. We talked about, and it was fine then, but these are those little things which affects trust. Every relationship you go in, with your friend, with a partner, with anyone, starts with a trust credit. So you all automatically give someone trust. It's not something you need to earn first, or they need to earn. You just give it. And out of that, with the time, the relationship goes by, both of you see if this trust is getting deeper, if it's getting up, or if it's getting down. There are many more examples, but I don't want to bother you with the details. Let's go on. The academics have defined trust in an equation. Credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation equals trust. In other words, words plus actions plus emotions divided by motives equal trust. Or even more so, you can say, I can trust what someone says, plus I can trust the person who says something, plus I feel comfortable with discussing something with this person, divided by who does the advisor care about. All of this is trust. So if you score each of these elements, it is quite easy to calculate a value for trust. So now let's change the perspective and let's have a look at the stock markets. Let's have a look what they do. There's this saying that they trade the future. So what are they actually doing? They are trading trust. Trust in companies, in a product, in a team, or in a brand. And how do the stock markets do that? They do it to their share price. Share price multiplied with the numbers of shares outstanding equals market capitalization, equals the value of a company. So this we can use as a proxy for interest. Let me give you a simple example. For example, company A, it has its IPO at 1. So let's say they're traded with a value of 10. They come to the growth phase, the economic slowdown hits, share price drops. I mean, this affects any industry. This is nothing to really worry about if you're a long-term investor. So then they enter the boom phase at 4. But then public is surprised by an accounting scandal. Just to mention 2 of them, Wirecard or Luckin Coffee last year here in China. What happens? The stock price collapsed completely. You see it in number 5. However, they work their way out through the crisis management, through transparency in the public to reinstate their trust. Only for then hit by the Corona crash. And I mean, we all saw this last year, very hard. But what we all saw, luckily, that they recover very quick. This is what we just gone through. Now let's take it back to where we started, the trust between people. As we can draw exactly the same stock chart for your private life. Remember when you were falling in love, all those butterflies flying around. You have this wedding, the honeymoon, the fancy beach hotel. But then at 3, you see the everyday reality sets in. You start discussing about socks, about toothpaste. Yeah. But then you recover, kind of recover. And then at 4, maybe a child is born. Or if you don't want a child, you go and buy a doggy. After a few years, maybe the partner cheats. You try couple therapy. You have again trouble along the way. That's life. But at the end, you're all fully recommitted to this relationship, and you go into a further positive future. It could also be the negative way, but let's talk about the positive things today. By the way, this is also working for the professional life. Your graduation, your first job, you think you are the hero of the world, you can do anything. Then you get your first job and you really realize, oh, this guy with the 20 years more experience is kind of better than me. But anyhow, you get a little promotion, and yeah, all those things that work are happening in the company, like the boss will train you, maybe you work yourself out of that. At the end, maybe you start a new career, but it could also happen that you get another promotion and you stay there and you are making your way up your career ladder, right? So let's do a little recap because it was quite a lot. We looked at trust between people at the beginning. We looked at the definition, the elements, and what affects trust. We took the step to companies. We learned trust can be measured. And we saw it applies equal to private, professional lives and companies. Yeah, let's have a look what happens when you lose trust. We all need to be aware that there are a lot of ways to lose trust and make your trust index go down. We know this saying, it needs 25 years to build, 5 minutes to put it down. So just to pick a few, I mean, you lie. This is the absolutely no-go. You lie to your partner, to your boss, to whomever. Oh, this is something you lose trust immediately, no discussion. We all still, I guess, know how it felt when we first lied to our mom. Another thing is, for example, the negativity. You have this colleague, he or she is super negative, has a very low energy level, and is always complaining, and she or he is always saying the total opposite of what you are doing. Because he or she doesn't want to really embrace, they want to not have a trustful relationship, they just want to fight against you. This doesn't work. It doesn't work for trust. You lose trust, and trust will never, ever get back again to where it was. There's a lot of mistrust also in our world. There is a historic example. One of the biggest one, I feel like, is the mistrust in the banking system. I mean, our grandparents, even before, they put their money in the socks and they put it under their pillow in their bed and hide it there because this was the safest place on earth for them. They would never have brought it to the bank. And today, the socks, the crypto wallets replaced the socks of the past. Today we have crypto currencies. Well, the cold storage wallets replaced the socks, not the currencies, but today it's the same. We still don't bring the money to the bank. I mean, many of us. But there are also nice examples of trust also in the business world. I want to share a little story about this guy from this hot dog cart. He is in New York in the financial district, and he sold those really nice hot dogs, but he somehow lost clients because it took too long. The cash in actually took too long. So he thought about how he can improve, and he just took this bucket with this little saying, like, put the money in whatever you think you want to give me. So what happened? He sold twice as much of hot dogs. And he even got more money because the people, they were so flattered that he trusts them. They gave him even more money than they should. So at the end, he got double more income plus all the extra money he did. And he built up recurring customers through trust. There's also a lot of admiring for certain groups in our society. Everybody loves and trusts the firefighters, and no one trusts the politicians. I think this is for the whole world. But always be aware that trust is like a piece of paper. Once crumpled up, it will never be completely the same again. What does that mean? If you once lost trust in a person or also in a thing, it's hard to rebuild the trust. It's hard to get the paper flat again. But it does not always mean need to be negative. It can also have a positive side. Just an example about a colleague. You lied to him about a mistake. You tried to lie to him because this guy, he's reacting super aggressive and he's shouting and he's really not a very social guy. So you are afraid of telling him the truth, and he is like, yeah, not self-reflecting. So what can help? You can communicate and you can shift your relationship into a new level. The moment you realize you don't have to lie and lying is not an option, And the guy realized shouting and being aggressive is not an option. Let's find a way together that we can embrace our situation and we can work good together. It's a good win-win situation. So it started with a mistrust. It ended with something good. Also in a relationship. I mean, we are only humans. We all make mistakes. So even in a relationship lasts normally several years. You cannot always be on point. You cannot always be perfect. So things happen. Mostly things happen for a reason. This is what I truly believe in. There are no-goes. Those no-goes need to hit your values. So if that's fine for you and you can go on. Also, a mistrust in a relationship can embrace your relationship also. I mean, in a partnership. So what can you do to rebuild trust? Use my toolbox, my trust toolbox. It seems to be quite easy, but sometimes saying sorry is the most hard thing to do. But saying sorry and meaning saying sorry is something very powerful. Also being honest about your own mistakes. Just think about what you did, how the other person feels about it, you feel sorry about, and you show this. You take responsibility for your mistakes and you try to shift this. And I think one of the most important things is to forgive yourself. Sit down with your feelings, go inside yourself, and really think about what you did, what you want to change, what you want to take away of that situation, and go with it. And never forget, we are all humans. We all make the mistakes. So that leads me to my last key to a question. Do you trust yourself? Are you honest to yourself? Are you reliable? Do you cheat on yourself? It starts with the simple things. I mean, most of the women, including me, I mean, I did so many diets in my entire life. Just being fine with yourself is an option, or you really stick to your diet. So the call of the piece of chocolate at night at 10 o'clock, you just go on the phone. You just go in the kitchen and grab this piece of chocolate because you made a decision. You're honest to yourself, you trust yourself, and you go through this and you just go to bed. Or you grab the chocolate and you enjoy it and you just go for it. Just be aware. Be aware of your thoughts, how you treat yourself, and what you do with yourself. I think going inside is super important because it all starts with you. So let's summarize. You can trust others. If you cannot trust others if you don't trust yourself. Or you can trust others only if you trust yourself. Trust is the glue of everything. It can be measured, it can be lost and rebuilt, but it's hard to rebuild. Trust can be managed if you're self-reflective, aware, and you know the toolbox. So thank you so much for your attention. Let's connect if you want. I'm here. I'm here in Shanghai. I put my WeChat on the screen, my LinkedIn, and my email address. So now I'm happy to answer your questions if there are some.
Thank you so much for this, Carina. As we said before, it's such an important topic, and you gave so much insight on all the different kinds of trusts, from business to personal relationship. I think this is really, really valuable. And
thank you.
There's a couple of questions already in the chat while you were speaking, I think. There you go. There's a question of like, how can no humor lose trust? I think that was in your how to lose trust slide. I think there was a question about that.
Yes, that's a good question. I think humor is a very important kit, and it's a very important tool because sometimes humor can really, really solve a problem, but it can solve a situation. When you're stuck with someone and when you really don't get this out, just remember you're having this Zoom call. All of us know this right now. I'm having this Zoom call, and we are having a very serious thing. It's not like a presentation, and we are somehow stuck. All of a sudden, my child runs in and throws some popcorn around. It's also a kind of humor, but it's solving the situation. We're all laughing. So this takes the stress away, it takes tension away, and you can go on another level. This is what I meant with the humor. Humor is something I really like, and I'm really into this. And I think this is very often helpful.
Absolutely. Matan says that idea used to be very common in New Zealand until, oh, I think this was about the politicians. Is it, Matan? Are you talking about until Jacinta Ardern? I think. I don't know. I'm just.
I think it's hot dogs.
Oh, hot
Yeah.
dogs as well. Maybe. Oh, okay. All right. Maybe that's about hot dogs. Golden Seed has another couple of questions. It says, how do we know if our trust is based on bias?
On bias, sorry. I'm not a native speaker. Please be kind to me.
I guess I don't know, Golden Seed, if you want to expand on that. My guess is that if we trust others based on maybe like, because for example they're a teacher, so we trust them not because of the person but because of their role, or like a manager, or because
Okay.
other people trust them. I'm not sure though. Golden Seed, feel free to
I think, thank you, Maria, for explaining to me. I think this is something which comes from yourself. It's just something you can know. I trust my teacher, my daughter's teacher. Sure, because of this BS, of his BS. I hope I use this word right.
bias, yeah. And it like, and as Jeffrey says, it's kind of like prejudice, but it's more about what you believe of this person because of other factors, because if other people told you that this person is trustworthy, or because this person has a position or like an inherited,
Yes. So this is really a good thing about thinking about the trust credit you start with in any relationship. So you start with a trust credit, and a fire worker gets more trust credit from yourself at the beginning when you first met him than a politician. A teacher of a child's teacher. I mean, I'm super critical. I'm really a kind of helicopter mom. I'm really not giving so much trust to any teacher in the first minutes, but this is a personal thing. But this is what I mean with a trust credit. You give the people trust at the first moment, and the reason is also maybe your intuition, your gut feeling. Then maybe a police officer, you give him trust because of his job. And then by the time you realize that was a mistake, or that was amazing, that was the good choice. This is what I meant. It's just starting with a credit, always. And the credit can be 10, it can be 5, it can be whatever. So this is also something which comes from your values and what you feel. I hope this answers that question right.
Absolutely.
On that note, but there's also a lot of education I feel, which is like telling, especially children, also to don't just trust. Like for example, also don't just trust police. Don't just trust everything your teacher says or something like that. Especially also with the church. I mean, they really messed it up a lot and big times, and they have so much trust. So there you can see like how that can also really be going wrong, that the trust bias is so high that so many generations of children never said anything about what is happening in church. And so it's really interesting. But I think it's developing in a different direction. Yeah.
But good point, Jolanda. That's so true. The church is a big thing to talk about. That could be an extra topic. And what you said about the children is totally right. I mean, I always tell my daughter not to trust people. I mean, here in China, we are super safe. In Germany, it's totally different. So if there's a car stopping and you give my daughter sweets, she will go with you. That's really, I mean, we're working on this, but this is something you have a very good point, and this is really an element thing. Yeah, and very important. Yes, totally.
Yeah, someone in the chat says, "Be careful of blind." Jeffrey says, "Be careful of blind trust." That I think that was that what you were
Yes.
mentioning. And in my opinion, that's like a slightly different thing though, because that is more about safety. I think that what we talked about and what Carina mentioned today, it's more about a trust that is like a double, it's like a two-way street, right? So in relationships between, working relationship, personal relationships, where both people have 100% agency, like on choosing. I think that, children, have a different understanding of trust because they clearly trust their parents. And so they might assume that everybody who's an adult, it's a good person. Right, so that's
Yes.
like a different, like they don't have that capability of discerning people, right? And that's where education comes in, like understanding and like teaching children that there's people who you should trust and people who you should be wary of because different reasons.
Yes.
I think that with adults, it's a slightly different, easier, more difficult. I don't know, but
Maybe
not sure.
both.
I don't know really.
Yes, I believe in that. Maybe both. Yeah.
I feel it's both more difficult and easier at the same time, which doesn't really help. um. Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Jeffrey Forrest is asking about the PowerPoint. Thank you for that. I will surely share this in the widget group. Yes, I will.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Adrian. Hi, Adrian. I didn't know you were here. Oh, there you
Oh,
are. Hi. I
Adrian,
haven't seen
I'm
you.
honored.
I was not looking at the chat. Hi, Adrian.
My trainer, my NLP trainer.
Yeah, ours is a lot of people who joined Adrian's
Yes.
course here. It just says, I like the reference showing trust index applied to the company, intimate relationship, and professional career. It was great. Yes, I agree. I think the stock markety graph was really nice. And it was a really good comparison of like, it doesn't really matter where to apply it. It's always like a similar idea. Yes, Yolanda.
Happy to hear that.
I have a question. Maybe you can see if this is suitable or not. So when you have experienced a lot of like situations where people really grabbed into like, okay, I'm not trustable box, and you're growing up with people that failed on that one a lot. So as child, you are very much disappointed, right? How and so that's why there are like several adults as well, which have maybe going into the world and having quite a low like first trust base when they're being in relationships or coming into like any kind of relationship, may it be business or not, because they're always on guards. So how would you say, like, do you have an advice what to do to really bring up maybe a little bit the base trust inside you? It's like what to do to, kind of like become open again a bit, something like that. Do you have any
Yes,
advice?
it was. Thank you for your question. It was very interesting. I just saw this documentation about those troublemaker kids, which I think is a very hard word because they are troublemakers because of what they experienced in their childhood. No one is born as a troublemaker. They are the society's making a troublemaker of them. And what's the main problem was in this documentation of those kids were the parents. The trust they were took away from the parents because the parents were drug addicted. They were not able to take care about a kid. So that was the moment they changed their personality. So the most important thing for me is in gaining trust. It doesn't matter if you have a bad use or if you just had a kind of normal, what we call it, normal life. This is the main thing for me is it comes from yourself, from inside. So I would always say, please take a time for yourself, only for yourself a day, without this cell phone, with all these, without WeChat, without Instagram and all of this, and just be alone. And also take the time, how do you say, take the time to go inside, get you in the situations, get you in problems in your mind, and get the feeling of this. Take the feeling and stay with the feeling and meditate. This is something what I really feel is important, self-reflection, and really go inside. And I think every one of us should take 10-15 minutes. It doesn't take that much if you do it every day. to go inside, to silence, to think, to feel. And I think this is, if you're also forgiving yourself, if you're forgiving others, and if you start self-reflection, I think this is a good start to gain more trust in yourself. And the moment you have more self-trust, the moment it's much easier to give trust to other people. And I mean, those extreme examples you just mentioned, Yolanda, they sometimes also need a good partner, a good match, who has a good heart and is just super kind and has time. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Yolanda. That was a beautiful answer, Carina. A couple of more questions in the chat. Angeline asks, con artists, they rely on false trust. So how do you detect trust your instinct and gut feelings or trusting other people's opinions?
So here we are again with me being a non-native speaker, con artist. I need help.
As in people who want you to trust them to scam you. Like, people say like, oh, don't worry, you give me your money and I will make you more money. And then they run away with the money. Or people who want, like to sell you fake things, or people who want your personal information to then,
Okay, thanks,
yeah.
Maria.
People who are trying to gain, like, the usual scam of older people, people pretend to be from the government or from the tax bureau or whatever, and then they get you information, and then it's a negative way to use trust to then harm.
I think sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Thank you for translating. Yes, I think this is a part of experience in your life, what you already experience. I think a younger person is much more into this than an older person. I think this is really experience. And this is a lot about intuition and gut feeling, my opinion.
Yeah, and I definitely agree on the experience, and that I don't know, maybe there's a gut feeling as well. Like if it sounds too good to be true, maybe it is.
Yes. And let's face it, we all have this also. If you're 50, 60, it can happen to all of us. This is also life.
Absolutely.
It happens. So what you do, you just go back into you put your crown again, and then you start new. And it happens. You just accept that mistakes happen, or that you made this experience. I mean, life is not always only nice. We all have also those crying days. So it happens. Just go on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Angeline.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure your gut feeling is better than your husband's. Yes, the men normally prefer facts. That's true.
There's another question from Faye that says, in a relationship, how to create trust or a trust environment for the other person to feel okay to be vulnerable? That's a great question.
Communicate. I think communication is the key element. Be patient and give the person time. And I think also those pauses, make pauses, give the person time to think when you're communicating, and put yourself on the side. Just be there, be present. And that I think this is a very key element for building trust, giving also a trustful environment. Just be there and be patient. And those people who do not trust very much, they sometimes also try to kick you away. And just take it. Just be there. Just stay there and try. If you really love that person, go on. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that this presentation was wonderful. I loved how you even had the color scheme in the PowerPoint good. You had visuals, you had words, wasn't too much. It was organized really well. The way you presented was very calm, very assured, and you had really great content. And it's very rare that I see a presentation that does all that. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. I've come twice because it was great. And I'm very glad to hear you speak.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Alicia, for that. And definitely thank you, Carina, for sharing. I think, again, this is a topic that resonates with a lot of people. So I'm very happy to see people that have questions. There's a couple more questions in the chat. In the meantime, while you guys ask questions, let me just share again our upcoming events, but feel free. So there's a couple of questions. Hayek says, due to some biases, it's hard to trust and communicate with strangers. But if you have charisma like Jackie Chan or Tupac or Freddie Mercury, you can win them all. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Charisma is
Nice.
definitely important. Sure, definitely. Golden Seed asks, due to our misconception, misinformation, and misperception. I'll rephrase. It's early morning. How do our misconception, misinformation, and misperception influence our default trust system? For example, the dark history of the sex abuse of the Catholic Church, as we mentioned before. I think that's a sociological question more than just an opinion one. But I don't know, Carina, you want to take a stab at that?
You're challenging me. I like that. I think, I mean, sexual abuse is something where I think it's super hard. I mean, this is a killer. This is destroying. And to rebuild this, you really need psychological professional help. This is nothing I as a coach should step in. This is nothing where I can help as a coach, and this is not my level of work. Coaches go in the future, and this is something, if someone wants to work on that, I mean, trust is something which can be, I mean, sexual abuse and killing someone is the worst thing of killing trust. I cannot find other words. So I think rebuilding trust is, in this case, a wrong question, or not wrong question, but the false way. I think in this moment, you just have to heal from the inside. It's about yourself, and go inside again and find help that you self can heal. But this is nothing you can just do by time and maybe communicate or something. This is something where you need professional help. Does that make sense?
And if to add something to that, I think that there's, as we mentioned before, maybe it was at the 7 a.m. one, that there's trust is also by default sometimes because of positions and because of, as we said before, bias, because of society, right? There's people who we are told to trust, or that we are in positions that we trust more. I think that going with gut feelings and also making your own judgment according to what is important to you and what your personal situation is definitely very, very important compared to just trusting. Yes, Yolanda.
It's very interesting because I'm not so exactly sure, but like as a photographer or something, I'm blessed with a lot of trust by people. And sometimes I had some projects, where I randomly in super malls, I asked like old ladies if I can basically tape them on a wheelchair in a flat they have never been, and they would do it. And so in this moment where I did this project, where I had this total stranger basically in front of me in the flat of my friend, tying her on a wheelchair, for this project, and we have never met each other in a way or spent time. That is where that trust also from other people is like, oh, wow, this is a huge responsibility. And so there are people like, I was like amazed by that extreme trust towards me, but there was also this kind of pressure, or this kind of like, wow, I mean, I could do everything now with her. And I'm a good person for sure. Maybe that's also why she's trusting me, but still, like when you are facing so much trust from someone, and you are not a person that is responsible, you know, or you're using it actually for your for yourself, you know. This is it is a decision. It's really a decision, like, to make, like, what for a person do you want to be when you are actually born with a natural charisma or trust or whatever, with this talent that people trust you. You know, you are coming actually into this kind of decision making. And so this is very extreme. Why do I share that? It had a sense.
It was connected to trust and that you're a good person, Yolanda. That's it.
No, it's not about this, but I just say, like, it's really coming with responsibility when you build up trust.
Absolutely.
And so I think that is what Carina was really talking about today. It's like, okay, when you're building up a trust base with someone else, you're also building up, like, pressure towards yourself to live up to it. And but of course this is a good thing. But it needs integrity, definitely integrity, not only towards that person, but especially towards yourself.
But it's also what I really like on that example, Yolanda, is that it's not only showing that this person is trusting you because you're a photographer. I mean, this person is trusting you because of your personality. That you are a trustful person. I mean, this is an amazing compliment, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But frightening as well at the same time.
Well, with great trust and power comes great responsibility, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. If you have any more questions or sharing, please do share it in the WeChat group. I'm going to show again, this is the QR code. If you're not in, please add me and I'll add you. Carina is in all the WeChat groups. She will share, as she mentioned, the presentation and all of her contacts later. Thank you so much, Carina, for this. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you
for joining. This was really good. Thank you for everybody who joined, for your questions and your sharings. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, Adrian. I don't know if you're still there. I can't see everybody. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, everybody else. We wish you a fantastic Monday, a great start in the new day. And if you're in Shanghai or can make it, join us on Sunday. We'll have a 2-year anniversary party. So come celebrate Monday Morning Motivation with us in person, which is going to be a fantastic opportunity. And I'm going to be there. Karina's going to be there. Janine's going to be there. And a bunch of other people. Yolanda's going to be there. I know you're working, but maybe not. Yolanda's going to be there later, maybe, if she can make it. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
To see you there. I trust to see you there, Carina.
Yes, I trust everybody to see you there. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic week. And for those who can make it, see you on Sunday. Otherwise, see you next week.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Perfect presentation, Carina. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you so much.